I'm going to try and get through this segment without crying. Our next guest has written a book about 9/11, but he's written a story about a man and 9/11. 15 years, the anniversary this weekend. The book is called The Red Bandanna, and Tom Rinaldi, you might know the name. He is from ESPN, and he joins us now. Good morning, Tom. Thanks for joining us.
McGraw, thanks so much for having me.
You talked about this story on ESPN, right? But you've decided to sort of make it into a book. Is that the case?
That's exactly accurate, McGraw. We first shared the story on an ESPN feature 5 years ago at the 10th anniversary, and so much has happened since, but there was also so much more to tell, so much more that we discovered in the reporting of the book, and it's just one of those stories that never left me. And no matter where I go with coaches or athletes in airports, people still bring the story up frequently. It just, for some reason, has resonated.
Well, it was noted in President Obama's speech at Ground Zero. The book is called Red Bandanna, and I want to give people just enough information so they go out and read the book, but I want to keep it to not ruin it for them. So Tom, give us the hook to the story, The Red Bandanna.
I think the hook, McGraw, is a question. And Wells Crowther, 24 years old, is working in finance on Wall Street, volunteer firefighter, Division I athlete from Boston College. And in the crucible of terror of the South Tower of 9/11, he faces a question that I think all of us in some way have asked ourselves, McGraw, all of us. What would I do in a life-and-death situation? Would I have the courage, the character, the poise, the selflessness to put somebody else before me? Not somebody in my family, someone whose name I don't even know. The book is essentially how Wells Crowther answered that moment, not once, but multiple times. The sacrifice he made and the legacy he left behind through that one choice, and the character that was created that would lead to a choice of that nature.
He was a Division I lacrosse player at Boston College, and as you said, he was a trader in Wall Street. But is it true that weeks before 9/11, he told his parents he wanted to become a firefighter?
Exactly, McGraw. Again, he was a volunteer firefighter because that's what his father had done. They grew up in a suburb of New York City in the Hudson River Valley. 1 month before 9/11, he calls his father. He said, equities trader, he's set up perfectly for a life of great prosperity, and says, Dad, I think I want to leave this. I want to join the FDNY. And after he perishes in the heartbreaking task of cleaning out his belongings from his apartment in New York City, his father finds the application filled out to his wonder and heartbreak.
So after he dies in the 9/11 towers, the father's cleaning out his apartment and he finds the application?
He does. And I think in that sense, it was real. It wasn't just an aspiration that we all share or something that we talk about. In the conversation, his father, in essence, was stupefied, saying, listen, continue to volunteer. You have a great career ahead of you. But Wells was compelled. He felt that it was a greater calling. And he was just the second person in the history, the 140-plus year history of the FDNY, to be named a member posthumously. Yeah. That's how the FDNY viewed his actions that day.
Tom Rinaldi with us, an ESPN reporter. The book is called The Red Bandanna. Tom, I want to ask you a personal question, and you know people who died in the towers in that day. Many of us have friends and relatives who died in the tower that day. You're a reporter. You tell stories. How hard was it to go to the family and say, tell me this story, relive it one more time so that the rest of the world knows your son's story?
What a great question, McGraw. And can I tell you, if I could pick one moment to answer your question, when you write a book, you read quotes back to people, you read passages that their information and background helped shape. For 5 hours across their kitchen table, I read passages aloud to Wells' mother and father, Allison and Jefferson. And that's an experience I'll never forget. And I think for all of their heartbreak, there is a pride that will never die in what their son did that day. And in the lessons I think we can all learn. I know this is a 9/11 book at its center, but it's so much broader than that, about American character, McGraw, and about a time in our country where we're so divided and the discord is so loud, and we've seemed to squander so much of the common ground we had after 9/11. This story is one piece of common ground that people can all walk to, because it's a hero in the purest sense. The institutions, the community, the family that created that choice, and the legacy and discovery of how it was made and who he was.
Yeah, Wells, when he was saving the people from 9/11, he didn't ask them their political affiliation, and he didn't ask them who they were voting for. Right? He just picked up people he could find and bring them to safety.
I can't say it better than that, McGraw. Correct.
The book is called The Red Bandanna. This is a must-read book, and it can't come at a better time. Tom Rinaldi with ESPN, The Red Bandanna, A Life, a Choice, a Legacy. Tom, good luck with the book, and thanks for spending a couple minutes with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
You got it. 7:57, Big 550, KTR.